Hey, gentlemen, Ncaa 31 here, Ncaa 14, Tennessee Vols Dynasty. We are in bowl season. You're now number 3 Tennessee Vols will take on 10-2 Boston College in the Sugar Bowl. Great season for BC, huh? Well, Clemson is playing in the BCS championship game, so I'm assuming Boston College was the ACC runner-up or the next highest ranked team. So there you go. They get the Sugar Bowl bid. A top 10 regular season for them. Good for them. Let's look at some awards. Michigan and Clemson is the national championship game. Zach Charbonnet becomes the first true freshman to win the Heisman Trophy. On the strength of Michigan's great season, he won the Walter Camp and Doak Walker Awards as well. 1,298 rushing yards, 6 yards per carry, 108 yards per game, 15 rushing touchdowns. And he added in 402 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. That's a pretty strong season. Elijah Collins, a redshirt freshman, finished second. Beat him in total yards and yards per game, 15 rushing touchdowns as well. Not quite as high yards per carry. And not quite the impact in the receiving game. So, you can live with that. Ty Chandler had 20 rushing touchdowns, 4.8 yards per carry, 84 yards per game. He finishes third. A.J. Davis from Pitt. And Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon won the Davey O'Brien and Maxwell Awards. 36 touchdowns and only 9 INTs. 3,900 and change passing yards. Those are your Heisman Trophy winners, your All-Americans. First team, Anthony Gordon, Zach Charbonnet, Elijah Collins, Arthur Jackson III out of Eastern Michigan. He had a monster year. 87 yards per game, 12 touchdowns, 1,100 yards and change, 67 receptions. And Brandon Arconado, he won the Bolitnikoff Award. 102 yards per game, 87 catches, 21 touchdowns. Big year. Sterling Palmer out of FIU. 1,000 yards, a Mackey Award winner. Clemson is well represented on the offensive line. Ohio State and Bama as well. Nnamdi Ogoyu out of Washington. 8.5 sacks, 29 tackles for loss. Darrell Middleton from your Tennessee Volunteers. 11 sacks. 19 tackles for loss. And both defensive tackles are both All-American and freshman All-American. 16 tackles for loss for Greg Emerson, 8 sacks. Carrot Garland, identical stats. They're friggin' twins. David Batuli at middle linebacker. Tony Fields, DeAndre Johnson. He won the Bednarik and the Butkus Award. 74 tackles, 2 sacks, INT, 2 forced fumbles. Alonzo Taylor and Bryce Thompson both made the first team as corners. Tanner Muse and Isaiah Simmons. And Joseph Bolovis as your kicker. Jeff Thomas is the returner. Devin Ansel is the punter. Second team, you have Jalen Hurts. Oklahoma kind of fell off a little bit, and as did he. But he had a really good season. 32 passing touchdowns, only 7 INTs, and almost 1,000 yards of rushing and 11 touchdowns. Big year for him. There's Ty Chandler, Marcus McCray, Trey Walker, Carlos Strickland of the Roadrunners. You see Oregon, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson again represented. Malcolm Roach, Eric Banks. Got a few Roadrunners on here. Tyler Davis, Derek Brown, Kalen Kearse-Thomas, Brandon Burks, Khalil Brooks out of Middle Tennessee State, Trayvon Diggs, Neville Clark out of UCF, Jalen McCullough, and Nigel Warrior. So the entire secondary pretty much makes first or second team All-America. And freshman All-America, Dylan Gabriel, Zach Charbonnet, and Elijah Collins, CJ Johnson, Wandale Robinson, James Palmer, Wanya Morris. Both my tackles made freshman All-America. Gregory Rousseau out of Miami. Drake Jackson, Greg Emerson, and Garland are freshman All-American as you'd expect. Nolan Smith, Shane Lee, Nick Bonito out of Oklahoma. Ahmad Gardner and Derek Stingley Jr. and Jalen McCullough and Tyus Field make freshman All-America. So my entire secondary either makes first team, second team, or freshman All-American. That's pretty nuts. Award winners. Anthony Gordon wins the Maxwell Award. As we saw already, Derek Guarantano finished 5th. There's way too many INTs with him this year. Way too many. We got to cut those way, way down. Charbonnet won the Walter Camp Award. DeAndre Johnson, as we saw, won the Chuck Bednarik Award over Isaiah Simmons. And Vols finished 3 through 6. We had a good defensive year. Malcolm Roach won the Bronco Nagurski. He had 12.5 sacks and 34 tackles for loss. Anthony Gordon with the Davey O'Brien Award. Khalil Tate was 2nd. What kind of year did Khalil Tate have? He had a very good year. 29 touchdowns, 9 INTs, 250 yards per game. The completion percentage isn't that great, which you'd expect out of Khalil Tate. Also had over 500 yards rushing and 6 more touchdowns. Zach Charbonnet won the Doak Walker, no surprise there. Brandon Arconato beats out Chase Claypool for the Blitnikoff Award. 78 catches, over 1,000 yards, 14 yards per catch, and 11 touchdowns. Nothing to sneeze at, but not quite as good as Brandon Arconato, who had 21 touchdowns. Brandon Johnson finished 8th on the strength of 79 catches, 938 yards, 9 TDs. Sterling Palmer, he won the Mackey. John Simpson, the Outland. Lloyd Cushenberry, the Remington. There's Roach again with the Lombardi Award. Garland finished 4th. DeAndre Johnson won both the best linebacker and the Bednarik Award. Isaiah Simmons wins the Thorpe Award, beating out Nigel Warrior. He had 59 tackles, 71 assisted. It's a busy man. A sack, a couple of INTs. He had a defensive touchdown, 14 pass deflections, forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. He was all over the place. My God. Nigel Warrior had 70 tackles, 21 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks, an INT, no defensive touchdowns, 1 forced fumble. And Bryce Thompson finished 3rd. He had a big second half of the year. He had 6 INTs. Nick Skiba wins the Groza. David Ensel, the guy. And Jeff Thompson, best returner. Those are your award winners. And now for the bowl games. And what matchups should I play out? You got some good matchups here. What matchups would you guys want to see? You had the New Mexico Bowl, Utah State versus Utah. Not really interested in that. The Idaho Potato Bowl, Western Michigan, not a bad year. That 9-3, they take on San Jose State. Poncetta Bowl, Missouri against Air Force could be interesting. Beef O'Brady Bowl, UAB Memphis, bleh. New Orleans Bowl, Florida International, who are ranked number 25 against the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks. Las Vegas Bowl, California, number 16 ranked against San Diego State. A good mid-major representative there. Hawaii Bowl, North Texas versus Fresno State. Little Caesars Pizza Bowl, Maryland versus Miami. That's a pretty lackluster bowl game. Military Bowl, Buffalo versus SMU. That's bleh. Holiday Bowl. Holiday Bowl always has interesting matchups. Oklahoma State, Arizona State. That's a good game. Underachieving year. Well, for Oklahoma State there. Pretty disappointing at 6-6, 5-4. Not really underachieving. I mean, Oklahoma State is what? That type of program between 6 to 8, maybe 9 wins. Arizona State the same way. They're ranked number 19 in the current poll. Belk Bowl. Disappointing year for Virginia Tech. That's a pretty ho-hum bowl matchup. 8-4. And they play East Carolina at a Conference USA. The Independence Bowl, Florida Atlantic, Wake Forest. Not a horrible matchup. Anytime Wake Forest can get to a bowl game, that's a good year. UTEP and Pittsburgh in the Russell Athletic Bowl. That's a pretty meh bowl game for Pitt. Illinois and Baylor in the Car Care Bowl. Can't remember the last time Illinois was in a bowl game. Really can't. I can't recall it. I'm thinking of back from the Rashard Mendenhall, Juice Williams days. I can't think of it. I can't think of one. They take on Baylor in the Car Care Bowl. Armed Forces Bowl. The Texas San Antonio Roadrunners, they were in the top 10 BCS mix for a while there, fell off at number 12. They take on UNLV in the Armed Forces Bowl. Kentucky and UCLA in the Fight Hunger Bowl. UCLA just never, ever does anything. Weird program. Alamo Bowl, Kansas State, Oregon. That's not a bad game at all. Oregon started out pretty quickly, fell off the pace. They're at number 20. Buffalo Wild Wings, what happened to Penn State? 6-6. Kansas 8-4, 6-3 in conference. That's a really good year for them. You know, Kansas is one of those programs. Any year they can get to a bowl game is a good year. Music City Bowl, Ole Miss and Virginia. Mid-tier conference teams in the SEC and ACC. Sun Bowl, Oregon State, Louisville. That does nothing for me. Louisville is number 23 in the BCS poll. AutoZone Liberty Bowl. La Tech, 11-2. Again, like the Roadrunners, they were in that mid-major who can crash the BCS top 10. They're at number 15. 11-2, 8-2 in their conference. I don't believe they won their conference championship game. Or maybe they did. Let's take a look-see. No, they didn't. Florida International won the Conference USA Championship. I remember now. Chick-fil-A Bowl, South Carolina versus Miami. Miami just cannot really seem to get back on track, can they? Heart of Dallas Bowl. This is the quintessential underachieving season bowl. Auburn and Wisconsin. Two programs that should have had much, much better seasons than they did. Both at 6-6, both with losing records in their conference. Disaster seasons for both of them. Gator Bowl. Georgia had a horrible season. Minnesota with a really good season. Anytime Minnesota can get to a New Year's bowl game, it's a good year. 9-3, 6-3 in the Big Ten. This is a good matchup. Alabama, they started out slow as we saw. Had a strong second half. We beat them in the SEC championship game, and they will take on Michigan State. That's a really good game. It's a good game for the Capital One Bowl. Outback Bowl, Texas A&M versus Ohio State. That could be a fun matchup. Ohio State number 6. Did not play for the Big Ten championship. Neither did Michigan State, for that matter. You know, A&M, typical sideways A&M season. Rose Bowl, Nebraska, and Arizona. That's a fun game. Arizona was a big year for them. Nebraska, maybe Big Red is starting to reemerge. Fiesta Bowl, Oklahoma versus Washington State. That's intriguing. And your All-State Sugar Bowl, Tennessee versus BC. Orange Bowl, LSU, UCF. That's a good game. Florida, Texas in the Cotton Bowl. Again, Texas just cannot get out of their own way. 6-3 in the Big 12, 7-5 overall. Florida still somehow in the top 10 with an 8-4 record. USC, Vanderbilt in the Compass Bowl. That's a horrible game. USC with a horrible season. You know, Vanderbilt, again, another program where if they get to a bowl game, it's a good year. And this is a horrible game as well. Eastern Michigan, number 18, against Louisiana. The Raging Cajuns. And your BCS championship game is Clemson versus Michigan. Michigan gets to a big game for the first time in God knows how long. Clemson lost a Pitt in overtime. Got a couple of injuries. Shea Patterson with a good year, huh? Trash can Shea Patterson. Monster numbers by Mr. ATN there. So, Clemson, Michigan for the national title. So put down in the comment section what you want to see. And we will try to play some games out. We have some new record holders. Jarrett Guarantano, he broke the single season passing record. Palmer, with the single season reception record, he has 90 catches going into the bowl game. And Ty Chandler with 20 rushing touchdowns. So there is your roundup. And again, I'll play out a couple of bowl matchups that you guys want to see, and of course, I'll play my bowl game as well, my national championship game. I wish I was able to sneak in, but alas, no. And we'll see how the Vols finish up their season, and then we'll go into next year. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you all later.